Any retro gamers hearing this will recall a solid snake sneaking through the air ventilation system, and this is exactly how these prisoners got out. This is what we can see on this CCTV footage from Lincoln County. 3 inmates walked over to the corner and quickly climbed into the ventilation system. But they weren't just climbing in and hoping for the best. They had done it many times before. They were essentially climbing in through this ventilation system and going into the kitchen. This way, they could pop in and get a snack whenever they wanted to. Eventually, they found out how to break out of the kitchen. Then they decided on their plan to escape. Of the 4 inmates, 3 were captured within 3 days. On the 4th day, the final convict was captured and brought back. But the most shocking aspect of it all is that this wasn't their first escape attempt. 2 of the convicts escaped 3 months later through the exact same route. Let's just say this prison doesn't easily learn its lessons. Our next escape happened in Copenhagen, Denmark. Instead of climbing through the walls or escaping through fancy tunnels, the prisoner just got one of his buddies to crash into the wall with a bulldozer and hope for the best. This bulldozer did its job and destroyed the wall. Footage can be seen of the bulldozer simply smashing into the wall, with several prisoners making a break for it. There was also believed to be a football match at the time. Were they desperate to see the football game or desperate to blend into a massive crowd? It's difficult to tell, but this footage did not come from CCTV cameras. It came from a cameraman on the outside. This was in 1995, before high-fidelity camera phones. This is why it's rumored that this cameraman was in on the escape, or else he was just in the right place at the right time. One of the escapees is Brian Bo Larsen, who is every Danish prison guard's worst nightmare. He escaped prison again in 2004 by hiding in a container that was transported out of the prison. In 2014, he used a hacksaw to saw the bars of his cell off and rope ladders to climb up to the roof and back down on the other side. He's one of the world's most notorious prison escapees, but maybe not the most famous on this list, as we'll see later. Rather than carrying out some Houdini-like stunt to escape, these prisoners used their own charm and charisma to break free in Texas. A female prison guard was sweet-talked into assisting with a prison break by 3 prisoners. She essentially did all the work for them. She shut off the alarms, unlocked the door, and gave a false prison head count. This gave the men an 11-minute head start. The prisoners seem to have gotten hold of other clothes, as they can be seen all wearing white and simply opening the gate and strolling out of the prison. Meanwhile, the prison guard can be seen running her hands through her hair and stressing about the situation. The prison guard was arrested a day later. The silver-tongued devils were found after 5 days. No prison officers have been wooed by their charms since. Another crazy prison escape on this list comes from a Brazilian drug dealer named Clavino da Silva. The plan was as follows: get his daughter to visit him in his cell, dress up as his daughter. The small matter of his daughter still being left in the prison cell wasn't of that much concern to him, so he put on a black wig, glasses, a bra, and a t-shirt. He also put on a silicone mask. Da Silva was also nicknamed Shorty, so he was roughly the same height as his daughter. But the guards caught hold of this. In this footage, we can see them removing the glasses and the wig. The jig was up, and his career as a potential drug queen was up too. Police questioned whether his daughter was in on the escape too. There were also another 8 people involved. It suggested that the wig, mask, bra, and t-shirt were all gradually snuck into his cell. Had he pulled this off, the guards at the station would need to get their eyes tested. This attempt was crazy, but unfortunately for Da Silva, unsuccessful. One of the greatest prison escape artists ever is El Chapo. In this footage, you can see him walking up and down his cell until suddenly he drops into the tunnel. His real name is Joaquin Guzman, and he's one of the world's most notorious criminals. He had built a secret underground tunnel beneath the shower, but El Chapo holds a little bit of leeway with the gods. He wasn't slowly chipping away like Andy Dufresne in The Shawshank Redemption. There was loud hammering, but the guards outside decided to ignore the noise. In the footage, you can see him pacing back and forth, waiting for the right moment. Before he exits, you can see a mobile phone on his desk that had been smuggled in to organize the escape. When escaping, he turned the volume up on the television by his bed to drown out any sound. This tunnel went underground for a mile until it reached a property coincidentally and conveniently owned by El Chapo's wife. But the real work was done inside the tunnel. His drug cartel was used to building tunnels between the U.S. and Mexican borders to smuggle drugs. They simply built another extensive tunnel system to help free their leader. It had lighting, ventilation, and even a rail system. The rail had an adapted motorcycle on it, which was used to transport tools for the dig. El Chapo's breakout was in 2015, and he enjoyed 2 years of freedom until he was eventually caught again. He is now held in an infamous American prison. A 21-year-old man in the U.S. Mississippi was sentenced to 40 years in state prison for trying to escape from a correctional facility just months before his release. The unfortunate prison break means he could be in his 60s before he can walk free again. Son Kendrick Huffman fled Central Mississippi Correctional Facility in August 2022, broke into a nearby home, and held 3 people at gunpoint for several hours. He then stole a car from one of the hostages and crashed it. Authorities who were searching for him found him hiding in a trash can at the Mississippi State Hospital in Whitfield, 3.2 kilometers from the prison, and was locked up again within hours. Notably, he was doing a 7-year sentence for aggravated assault and was expected to be released in December 2022. That means he was just 4 months away from his freedom. He pleaded guilty to 2 counts of kidnapping, and a circuit court judge sentenced him to 40 years in state prison. Rankin County District Attorney Bubba Bramlett said Monday. It is unclear why he tried to escape just months before his release. Mississippi Department of Corrections Commissioner Burl Cain said that the Central Mississippi Correctional Facility would improve its siren system to prevent future escapes. The correctional facility's boss, Burl Cain, also apologized at the time of the incident after a siren to alert locals to an escaped convict failed to go off. 2 inmates in a Virginia jail used primitively made tools to create a hole in the wall of their cell and escape, only to be found hours later at an IHOP restaurant nearby, a sheriff said. Authorities discovered the 2 men, ages 37 and 43, missing from their cell in the Newport News jail annex during a routine headcount Monday evening, according to a statement from the Newport News Sheriff's Office. A preliminary investigation found the men exploited a weakness in the jail's construction design and used tools made from a toothbrush and a metal object to access rebars between the walls, and then used the rebar to further their escape, the statement said. After escaping their cell, they scaled a containment wall around the jail. Authorities had asked for the public's help to find the men, and they were taken into custody again early Tuesday at an IHOP in Hampton, where other patrons called police. It reinforces what we always say: see something, say something, Sheriff Gabe Morgan said. The sheriff's office said it is investigating to help prevent further escapes. One man who lives in Hampton had been in custody on charges including contempt of court and probation violations. Another, a Gloucester resident, was being held on charges including credit card fraud, forgery, grand larceny, and probation violation. Charges related to the escape are pending, the sheriff said.